What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome back to the Sooner Surge. A very disappointing day in Lawrence, Kansas, as the Sooners fall 38-33 in what you could call an utter debacle in Lawrence, Kansas. Mistake after mistake, penalty after penalty. You name it, it happened, and it was in a negative way for the Sooners. And as a result, they kind of deserved to lose, and they did lose, falling 38-33 in a game that the goalposts were taken down, and Kansas is enjoying the victory against the Sooners. But before we get into our takeaways from this game, make sure you have subscribed to the Sooner Surge. A lot of Bedlam content coming your way this week. You don't want to miss it, so enable those notifications and be a part of it. And drop your comments in the chat after this video about what your takeaway is from this game. Guys, let's start with you, Jackson.
Well, man, my takeaway is that Oklahoma cannot find ways to stop killing themselves, shooting themselves in the foot, whatever you want to say. Whether it was dumb penalties after the play, whether it was the conservativeness from Jeff Lebby, whether it was busted coverages, whether it was missed tackles when they needed to make the tackle. Those are all things that they can fix, right? The majority of their issues from this game are fixable things, and I think that's the most frustrating is that, right, at times you saw this team flash like, hey, they're averaging 8 to 9 yards a carry at certain times, right? And at certain times they're making 2 to 3 yards tackles for loss on a few plays. It's like they're, in a sense, it's like they were just a few plays away from winning this game versus Kansas, and it's just very frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, you go ahead, Hunter.
Yeah, it's better to have it be things that could be fixed than unfixable things. You obviously don't want it to be the unfixable type of mistakes. Like you mentioned, yes, everything the after the play penalties have got to stop. This is very undisciplined, not a type of penalties that you would expect to see from this team, this culture. It's happened a lot as of late. That's got to get under control. I don't know how they get it that way, but it's got to. It's not worth it, especially against Kansas. So when you're doing it against maybe like Texas, okay, yeah, one of them, it might be worth it. It's a rivalry game, but like at this point, it's a road game, tough environment. You have the rain already you're dealing with. You don't need to give yourself another uphill battle by doing something stupid after the play.
Yeah, it's frustrating because that's what makes this game so frustrating. Is OU had chance after chance after chance, and despite all the horrible things that happened, mostly self-inflicted, guys, they still had a chance, and not just a chance, not even just a Hail Mary's chance. They had a great chance and should have taken care of business after the Sooner magic moment by Ethan Downs. They failed to do it. We'll get to that in a second, and then couldn't make the stop on 4th and 6. Again, a mistake that could have maybe prevented had they called a timeout, and Coach Venables even alluded to that in the post game. Hunter, what about you?
Tolly Walker is RB1. Like, clearly after seeing that, they need Tolly Walker back fast. Hopefully his injury is super minor, and he's good to go against Oklahoma State. And they're also missing their other running back, in my opinion. Marcus Major did not make the trip, injured. He barely played last week with a, I believe, shoulder injury for Major. And looking at those two, you got to have them. Like, Sawchuk flashed last week. Where was he this week? Tolly Walker goes out. Javante Barnes comes in. I don't get that. I would think Sawchuk should be the next man up in that situation because you saw it last week with Sawchuk. Like, he iced the game against UCF, that 30-yard touchdown run. Like, he has flashed. Javante Barnes had that foot injury over the summer, surgery. Since then, he hasn't looked the same. That was really only his second game that he's really played. I guess maybe third he played against Arkansas State. For the most part, he hasn't played. And all of a sudden, he's the one getting thrown in there. It's just weird. Tolly Walker was eating today, and it was noticeable very quick that when he went out, it wasn't going to work on the run game anymore.
You're right. It wasn't. I mean, Tolly Walker is I mean, the comparison everyone wants to make is Samaje Perine, and I absolutely agree with that. But listen, he's got a little Kennedy Brooks in him too, in the way that he runs the ball. Looks a little bit like Kennedy Brooks, and how he never goes. And I'm not saying Kennedy Brooks is running over you, but you didn't tackle Kennedy Brooks by the leg either. I mean,
Yeah.
he was a guy who would stay up.
Tolly
Yeah.
Walker gets yards after contact. Yeah.
He
Like
does, and
every
he went
time
out.
he's going forward when he's getting brought down. He's extending it. I know
Yeah,
Salt
and it hurt.
extension for the touchdown too.
Yeah, and you're right, Hunter. I don't know. I don't think Sawchuk got over 8 carries today, which is shocking. I thought he for sure should have got double-digit carries. Maybe he got low double digits, but when Walker went out, it should have been Sawchuk's show, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was 23 carries for Tolly Walker, 14 for Dylan Gabriel, 6 for Gavin Sawchuk, 5 for Jalil Farouk, and 5 for Javante Barnes.
So that's 10 carry. That's 10 carries between Farouk and Barnes that I think should have gone 6 of those at least to Gavin Sawchuk.
Yeah, and then the other one's probably to Dylan Gabriel with the way he's ran the ball over the past few weeks.
Yeah. My key takeaway, guys, is I think Jeff Levy tonight needs to take a look in the mirror and figure out what he wants with this offense, because I'm confused watching today. I get the weather. I totally get it. But, if the other team was in a different environment, it'd make a little more sense why OU was in a shell and the other one wasn't. Kansas was playing in the same stadium, and they threw the ball down the field some. They didn't shy back on that. And what Hunter brought up, when Walker goes down, and Kansas obviously, guys, had made an adjustment to try to stop the run because they knew OU was just going to ground pound. And Jeff Levy, Homer Simpson backed into the bushes, went into a shell, whatever you want to say, and got very conservative. And I know people would say, well, yeah, it seems conservative when it's not working. I get it. Okay, but OU has been able to throw the ball and throw it well all season. There was no reason they should have. Guys, late in the third, Dylan Gabriel was 9 of 11. Okay, come on. I mean, let's give some of these guys a chance on the outside. Finally, they do at the end. But I think my takeaway is, who is OU going to be offensively? What's the identity going to be? I think it should be a run. If you're going to run the ball, it should be to play action and go deep, but not one deep shot.
There's only been a handful of games where they were truly clicking on all cylinders offensively. And then you had the Texas game where they clicked on all cylinders when it mattered most in the fourth quarter. It's just the consistency, like, it's just not there, even against Texas. And I would say that was arguably the best offensive performance of the year, because you look at how it ended. That 1 minute and like 12 seconds to go, 75 yards, and they do it. But do we remember what happened beforehand? They had turnovers. They could not score. They had turnovers on downs. They could not do anything with it. There was just a lot of the game that they should have been able to put Texas away. They never did. Should have been able to put UCF away last week in the first quarter. They could have went up 28-0 with the four-stop defense. Only allowed, I think it was 15 or 17 yards. It was under 20 yards in the first quarter. Great field position 4 times, and absolutely nothing came of it other than 7 points on that one RPO to Nick Anderson. And this week, same thing. They could have put Kansas away in the second quarter after that horrendous start. You had the pick 6, and then they go down the field. It's 14-0. Just like that, you've only had the ball once because Kansas just controls the clock so well. I just don't get how they can't establish anything, like just a pure consistency where, okay, at the bare minimum, we're going to get this every single game. That's not the case. It's every game you're getting something different from this offense.
And also something that I think is maybe a little bit not considered to be talked about enough is it's similar to the same offensive issues they had as last year. It is, where they just go on these massively long dry spells of nothing, of no production, no rhythm.
It shouldn't be that way. Like, DG is so much better than he was last year. Like, significantly better that he's in that Heisman conversation this year.
Not
but
anymore.
He might stay in it.
Zero chance. He's
Zero
not in New
chance
York,
he
guys.
stays in.
He's not in New York.
You're saying he is not in New York at all.
No
I'm
chance.
not saying he's going to win it, but I think he gets to New York. Right now, I think they have to lose at least one more game for him to have no chance of going to New York.
Yeah, well, all I know is you guys are all right, and viewers, I want to know if what your thoughts are on this as well. But yeah, the identity, the lack of it, the dry spells, guys. I think they had the ball 8 times in the second half. They score on 2 of them. That's 25% if you're doing math for OU. This isn't the John Blake era. OU has athletes, should be scoring more. This is Kansas, 93rd ranked. OU got 2 touchdowns in the second half. And to me, that's probably the difference. We can get into other things that decided this game, and we will on other videos, but there's our 3 takeaways from this debacle in Lawrence today. OU falls 38-33. Drop your takeaway in the chat, and make sure you have subscribed to our channel, that you like and comment, and you turn on your notifications. Guys, time to get back to the grind. Get ready for Bedlam. Till next time, Boomer.
Boomer.